I can see, ma'am, from your affidavit that you have been for some time with the Forensic Science Laboratory. You said it's almost 29 years, not so. 24 years. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, but we're saying 24 years.
Now, one of the experts from the Ballistic Forensic Science Laboratory told this court that each and every exhibit that gets into the Forensic Science Laboratory must be registered. Do you also share the same view? That expert said that the reason for that is to trace is to track or trace the movement of that exhibit. Do you also share the same reason? Now, what are the legalities? And I'm asking these questions based on the fact that you are an expert within the perimeters of the ballistic unit. What are the legalities of an exhibit that gets into the Forensic Science Laboratory in a way other than it being registered at the administrative section of the Forensic Science Laboratory? Mind to give an example? Yes, an example. I'm saying, do you mind to give an example?
It will then be sealed at the scene, for example, and you will register it at the ballistic administration section.
Kuya ngokuthi ke yini ke oyiphethe noma uhamba nayo mhlambi ke usike nje iplanka ke khona lapha kwindawo leyo yesigameko bese uyalifaka ke ngaphakathi kuloko ufaka kona ubese uyahamba ke uyolibhalisa khona lapho eballistic.
I will go back to the reason why an exhibit that is capable of being packaged into a seal bag should be put in the seal bag, and the seal thereof should be sealed before it gets sent to the Forensic Science Laboratory. Because the experts have elucidated on that aspect for quite some time now. They've explained the reason for that. So me and you won't go to that aspect again.
Ngeke sibe sabuyela ke emuva ke ongoti sebekhulumile ngako ke isizathu sokuthi ke kuthathwe ke izibiti khona lapho lifakwe esikhwameni asingeke sibuyele kuloko.
Thank you. Now let me try to paint the following scenario. In respect of what I've just asked you. Now there's an exhibit that is handed over, or that was handed over to the Forensic Science Laboratory. It got worked upon by a certain expert, and then it was released. and with the instruction that it should go for destruction. I'm talking of a firearm. There was a specific instruction that firearm should go for destruction. After that expert from the forensic science laboratory had worked on it. It was taken out of the premises of the forensic science laboratory. Let me pause there. Do you understand?
I understand.
Thank you.
Sikhona ke nje isibhamu sokhuluma ngaso ke lana ekwathi ke mase siqediwe ke ukusetshenzwa ngaso kwathi ke asihanjiswe ke.
Now, you will agree with me that when the initial expert who worked on that exhibit had finalized his examination on that exhibit, he or she would seal it before it gets out of the forensic science laboratory, not so?
That's correct, my lord.
Kuyiqiniso ukuthi seqedile kusebenza ngaleso sibhamu ngaphambi kokuthi siphumeke khona ke elab kuzofanele ke asifake ke kusona ke isikhwama sezobufakazi.
Thank you. Now, this is what exactly happened here. It went to the police station where instructions were given to the SAP 13 custodian, who was a captain, with instruction that he needed to prepare the firearm for destruction. But just before it could go for destruction, information apparently surfaced that that firearm could be linked with certain scenes or with this case that we're busy with now. Do you follow up to this far?
I follow, my lord.
Kukhulunywe ngaleso sibhamu njengaphambi kokuthi ke sithathwe ke siyophethwa leso sibhamu leso kwakhona kokuvelayo ukuthi ke singahlanganiswa ke nezigameko ezithile kakhulukazi lesi isigameko esingaso khona la.
Now, as a result of that information which surfaced, an expert from the forensic science laboratory went to the police station, go and retrieve the firearm, and took it back to the forensic science laboratory. However, when he fetched it, he found that the bag, the seal bag of that in which that firearm was put, was broken. Do you follow up to that far?
I follow, my lord.
Wasekethi ke manje ke sekutholakele ke lokho siyahamba kuyothatha leso sibhamu leso ezobuyela naso ke elab kodwa wathola ukuthi leso sibhamu leso sezobufakazi isibhamu esasifakwe kusona ke manje ke asisavalekile ke noma ke asisaphelele.
Nonetheless, he took it to the forensic science laboratory. Firearm was never registered according to, in fact, let me put it this way. It was not received the manner in which exhibits are supposed to be received at the forensic science laboratory. That is through the administration section of the forensic science laboratory, where they will issue you out with an acknowledgement of receipt, you know, that little paper. So he took it straight and direct to his office. Do you follow?
I follow, my lord.
Asitholakala ke ngendlela ke ekumele ukuthi ke sitholakala ngayo wase eyahamba naso ke manje eya eoffice lakhe.
He went on to conduct certain tests on the firearm, part of which we are a bone of contention now. And he approached you. You probably know now that I'm talking about Colonel Mangele.
I know, my lord.
Thank you.
Yebo ngiyazi ke ukuthi ukhuluma ngaye uKenel Mangena.
Now, the question is, in view of the fact that each and every exhibit that is supposed to get into the forensic science laboratory, it had to follow certain protocol. And in this instance, such protocol was never followed. What is the view of the forensic science laboratory in respect of this protocol that was not followed?
Firstly, my lord, there will be circumstances as to why Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, if we're not talking about the same person, would go to the SAP 13 and collect the firearm, there would be a reason therefore.
Okokuqala ke soba khona isizathu sokuthi ke kungani ke enza ngendlela enza ngayo uKenel Mangena ukuthi ke ahambe ke aye khona lapho futhi ke aye ke SAP13 ayothola ispam.
As to that, I cannot elaborate. I don't know what the reason is. You didn't explain that to me.
Ukuthi ke kungani ke akukho ke engakusho awushongo kumina ukuthi kwangani.
Further, the exhibits received at case administration at the Forensic Science Laboratory are handed in by investigating officers and are accompanied by a covering letter and then, as you said, acknowledgement of receipt.
Futhi ke amaqala uma engena khona ke elab noma ke amafile ke alethwa ibonaka abaphenya amaqala futhi ke kunencwadi ke noma ke iletter ke ehamba nayo kanye ke nala futhi ke khona umuntu avumayo ke khona ukuthi yebo ngikutholile lokho.
This covering letter, for example, will mention exhibits that are handed in and to the analysis they require.
Lapho ke izochazwa ke amazibithi alethiwe kanye futhi nokuthi yini ekufanele yenziwe.
So this process will then essentially not be applicable, as Colonel Mangena is not an investigating officer with a covering letter handing it in at case reception.
Manje ke lokho angeke kwenzekeke nanjengoba yena ke uKenel Mangena ungasiyena ke ophenye icala futhi ke ayikho neletter ke noma ke lokho kubizwa ukuthi phecelezi ke covering letter noma incwadi ke ehamba nayo.
As when Colonel Mangena receives, when you receive anything from an SAP 13, my lord, there are specific procedures that are followed at the specific SAP 13, which are police procedures.
Futhi ke khona ke kwenziwayo ke kuloko kubizwa ukuthi ke SAP 13 ekuyindlela ke amaphoyisa enza ngayo.
So I would then expect that even if Lieutenant Colonel Mangena collected the exhibit himself, he would have followed those specific procedures.
Ngilindele ukuthi ke noma ke uKenel Mangena kuyena ke owaya wayosithatha ke isibhamu kufanele ukuthi lezo intelo lezo ke wazilandela.
This court has been told that he went to the SAP 13 at the instructions of the investigating officer. In other words, the investigating officer said to him, I've got information that a certain firearm that the warrant rule officer worked on could be involved in this case. Can you please go fetch it at SAP 13? That is the reason why he personally went there. And he came and told this court that the reason why he did not request the investigating officer to go fetch it himself is because he himself knew exactly where to find that firearm. That is what he told this court. Do you follow?
I follow, my lord.
I was just addressing something so I
no,
mistake.
thank you. I think you need to stay. I'm saying, for the benefit of Mr. Jonas, Mr. Mangena told this court that the reason why he personally went to the SAP 13 himself is because the investigating officer, Lieutenant Colonel Kininda,
Brigadier Kininda.
Mr. Kininda told him that there is a firearm that warrant officer, rule officer worked on, which could be linked in this case.
Sorry. Okay, proceed, sorry.
Thank you. He then requested Mr. Mangena to go there personally fetch the firearm. And the reason why Mr. Mangena did not request Kininda to bring it to him was that Mangena knew specifically where to find that firearm.
uKenel Mangena etshela ke lenkantolo izathu sokuthi ke ahambe ke ayiyele yena ke mathupha ke police station ngoba ke kwakhulumisana naye ke uBrigadier Kininda futhi ke izathu sokuthi ke ungabi yena ke uBrigadier Kininda oyayo kodwa Mangena ayiyele khona lapho ngoba ke uKenel Mangena wayazi ukuthi isibhamu lesi uzosithola kuphi futhi uKininda wakusho ke nako ukuthi isibhamu lesi ke lesi warrant officer rule officer asebenza ngaso kungenzeka ke ukuthi ke siyambandakanyeka icala elithize.
Do you follow?
I follow, my lord. I just don't understand the concept of knew exactly where to find the firearm.
Yeah,
is he referring
listen,
to the...
maybe they're not telling you the whole story. Kininda's evidence, as Mangena's evidence is that this firearm was involved in a Cleveland case where somebody else was charged with unlawful possession of that very same firearm. And that case was finalized. That's one of the aspects which you're not being told. That case was finalized. So according to Mangena, when he goes to fetch that firearm, it's supposed to be just destroyed. It's not going to be investigated in any other matter except the one which he assumes it could be relevant to. Okay.
Okunye ke okusho kwamahluleli ke ummeli angakusho kwenake ukuthi ke futhi ke wayekwazi ke uMangena ukuthi ke isibhangeso ke sasihlanganiswa ke necala ke lase Cleveland la ekwakunomuntu khona ke owayethweswe ke lelo cala lelo bebisokuthi ke manje ke maseqediwe ke ngalelo cala alikho inicala bezohlanganiswa naso lesi sibhamu lesi ngoba ke seliqediwe leliyana.
That is exactly what I was saying. That Warrant Officer Rudolph worked on this firearm, he completed his examination in this firearm, he put it in the seal bag, and this firearm was sent back to the police station where it came from.
I understand.
I only omitted to mention the name of the police station, which is Cleveland. And at the police station, the SAP 13 clerk, yes, I think it's Mr. Mchali, then received instruction that he needed to prepare that firearm for destruction.
I understand, madam.
But before that process could eventuate, then Mr. Mangena, Mr. Kininda approached or informed Mr. Mangena that no, that firearm that Warrant Officer Rudolph worked on could be involved in this case.
I understand, madam.
Could you then please go and fetch it? That is exactly where I am.
Ngiyakuzwa ke ukuthi washo kanjalo ukuthi ke kusengenzeka ukuthi leso sibhamu leso siyambandakanyeka kuleli cala manje hamba ke uyosilanda.
Now, would you agree with me that as soon as that firearm was released by the Forensic Science Laboratory after Warrant Officer Rudolph's work on it, it went out of the perimeters of the Forensic Science Laboratory? In other words, it was released.
It left the property, my lord, if that is what you're trying to say.
Yebo ke useqedileke ngaso ukuthi sibhamu leso saye sesiphuma ke khona lapho.
Now, because the Forensic Science Laboratory knew that such an exhibit is no longer in our possession, what should have been the proper protocol in respect of its return back into the Forensic Science Laboratory?
My lord, this is an exception. There isn't necessarily specific protocol because this is something out of the ordinary. It is not a standard norm or an average case that we get to examine in the laboratory.
Lana ke sikhuluma ngento ke ingajwayelekile ke noma ke lokhu ngandlela ke vamise ukuthi senze ngayo ke elab kodwa ke nje lena kwakuyisimo nje esasisodwa noma ke esasikhethekile.
What is ordinary about this one?
There's nothing ordinary about this case in terms of the collection of the firearm. I'm saying ordinary case, received at case reception, following the process, handed to the analyst, you do it in your office, you reseal it, you hand it back to the safe. That is an ordinary daily case.
Mangikhuluma ke ngecala ke lijwayelekile ke lamalanga onke ke ila icala elibhaliswa khona ke mala elifikela khona ke landluliselwa kuwena uyasebenza ngalo bese futhi uyalibuyisela ke.
Maybe I did not understand you when you speak about extraordinary. Were you saying that this case was an extraordinary case?
This specific situation would be extraordinary as to now the firearm is up for destruction and it is at the SAP 13.
Yes.
And Colonel Mangena would like to re-examine the firearm.
Yes.
That is something else.
Lana ke bese sikhuluma manje ke ngokunye ke noma ke mhlambe engasikona lokhu okujwayelekile ukuthi isibhamu kwaseqediwe ukusetshenziswa ngaso sekuzohanjwa ke manje sesiyoqhithwa ke manje uKenel Mangena fanele aphinde futhi asebenze ngaso.
That is exactly my question. What is extraordinary about that?
I would assume that in order to prevent the firearm from being sent for destruction, Colonel Mangena took immediate action to ensure that he can collect the firearm, that it is available for recollection. Once it is destroyed, it cannot be re-examined. So, in my opinion, it would be to prevent such an event from occurring.
Lana ke ngikhuluma ngokuthi ke kwakuyena ke ukuthi manje ke avimbeke ukuthi isibhamu lesi sithathwe ke manje bese siyohlakazwa ke ngokuthi ke ahambe ayihambele yena ke ayiyele khona lapho ayosithola isibhamu ngoba uma bese sihlakaziwe ke bengeka aphinda kwazi ke ukuthi asibheke noma sihlole.
What do you say about the fact that he received information from the investigating officer? Should he not have said to the investigating officer, no, bring that firearm yourself?
It depends on the situation, my lord. I cannot comment as to why the investigating officer asked Colonel Mangena to collect it.
Angeke ngikusho ukuthi kwakungani ukuthi umphethi wecala abesethi ke uKhen Mangena akahambe yena ayosilanda isibhamu.
Thank you. But now even so, upon Mr. Mangena's arrival with the firearm in the forensic science laboratory, did he not have to go through the proper channel of registering the firearm through the administrative section of the forensic science laboratory?
Not necessarily, my lord, because the case has been registered. It's the same firearm received. There's no specific procedure that needs to be followed.
Kwakungekho ke kwakufanele kwenze noma ke akulandeleke ngoba ke isibhamu leso sasesikhona lapho ke futhi necala futhi nalo ke seli registeriwe.
As long as Colonel Mangena kept record of his actions, that it would be sufficient.
Ukuthi nje uKhen Mangena yena ke konke awayekwenza ke kube okubhalwa phansi.
Now, what about the notion that every exhibit that gets into the into the forensic science laboratory needs to be registered in order to track its movement? Where does that fit in the fact that Mr. Mangena did not register his firearm?
In terms of tracking an exhibit, my lord, there are several people handling that specific exhibit. Once it is received by an administrative person who registers it. From there, the ballistic administration section will come collect the specific firearm. From there, it will be placed in the ballistic safe. From there, it will be handed over to an analyst by someone working in the safe. So there are several people involved in handling that specific exhibit.
Kunabantu ke bahlukene ke abambandakanyekayo ke noma ke isibhamu leso ke noma izibiti lelo elizohamba kubona ke ngaphambilini kokuthi uma sekukhulunywa ke ngokuthi ngokulandelela nokubheka ukuthi ke sihamba kuphi noma izibiti lelo likuphi nendawo.
So for the example of this specific case, Colonel Mangena is the only one handling the firearm. So the procedure will then be different.
Lana ke uKhen Mangena kwakuyena kuphela umuntu ke owayesebenza noma ephethe ke leso sibhamu okusho ukuthi ke manje indlela ke yokwenza izokwehluka.
Are you suggesting then that you could also have gone to a scene somewhere, go fetch the firearm and not register it and take it into your laboratory and work on it without having first to register it with the administrative section of the forensic science laboratory? That's what you're saying?
No, my lord, that is not what I'm saying. It will depend on the merits of the case. This firearm has already been at the laboratory. There is already a record of this firearm. I'm not collecting a brand new exhibit that has never been received at the laboratory. I will not. That is a completely different set of circumstances.
Nasikona ke lokho ngisho ukuthi nami bengahamba ngiye noma ikuphi ngiyolanda ke izibithi ngingalibhalisile kodwa ke lana kuhlukile ke ngoba lesi sibhamu bese sikhona ke ngaphambilini khona lana ke akusiyo ukuthi ke kuyolandwa ke into noma okusha engasetshenzwanga ngakho la bekuhlukile kulesi sibhamu.
Thank you. Now this firearm, whether for good or wrong reasons, it got into the forensic science laboratory. Then Mangena worked on it. He then analyzed the scene bullets vis-a-vis the test bullets which you testified about. Do you understand?
I understand, madam.
Sasifika kuyeta ke uMangena wabe esesebenza ke manje ngenhlamvu lena ke endawo yesigameko kanye naleyo ke ekuyiyena ke baba inhlamvu eya testwa.
And amongst others, what it did was to request your opinion on this firearm. That's what you told the court.
That's correct, my lord.
Akwenza ke ukuthi acele kumina ke uvo mayelana nalesi sibhamu.
And you told the court that the method that you used was pattern matching, not so.
That's correct, my lord.
ngishilo ke ukuthi ke indlela engenza ngayo ke le esibiza ke thina ke emaphoyiseni ke noma esiphoyiseni njenge pattern matching.
And you further told the court that prior to comparing the test bullet with the same bullet, you started by comparing the test bullets themselves to find out if they were indeed fact from the same firearm. Did I get you well there?
It was to familiarize myself with the markings, my lord, not to determine whether they were fired from the same firearm.
Uma ke ngikhathanisa ke ama test wona odwa ke kwangangabheki ukuthi ke kwadutyulwa noma kwasetshenziswa isibhamu esodwa yini kwakuyijwayeza nje ngama markings lawo akhona lapho.
And the test bullets that you determined assured you that they were indeed from a similar, they were discharged from the same tool, not so.
That's correct. Yes, my lord.
Futhi ke le inhlamvu lezi ke zama test ke za ila engathola khona ukuthi ngempela ke abuya kwisibhamu esodwa.
Now, before we go further, because Mr. Mangena requested your opinion, why did you have to pen a 212 statement?
The 212 statement, my lord, was requested by Advocate Baloyi.
Ngoba ke Colonel Mangena wacela ke noma wayicela kona kwakuwuvo unganike wenze le statement lesike esiphambi kwakho ke lesi sibiza ngokuthi ke i212 kungoba ke sicelwe uyena ke uadvocate Baloyi.
Is it the procedure, ma'am, that when a person who has been requested for an opinion, if that ever does happen within the context of forensic science laboratory?
It's not
I'm
necessarily.
not yet done with asking a question.
Excuse me. Sorry, my lord.
Is it procedure that a person who has been requested to give an opinion and they go through the bullet under, they go through the exhibits using microscope, they pen a 212 statement? In other words, what you did was that normal procedure?
It's not the standard procedure, my lord, but there is, again, an exception.
Ngeke ngithi noma akusiyona ke indlela ke ekwenziwa ngayo ke kodwa ke kukhona ke la khona ke ungathi ke khona ke ungakwenza ke noma ke ungayenza ke into ukuthi ke mina ngenze istatement lesi sibiza ngokuthi ke i212.
What are the exceptions in this case?
In this case, my lord, it was requested by Advocate Baloyi, as it was mentioned in court that we did view the exhibit bullets and the test bullet for us to furnish the court with the report.
Lana ke kube uyena ke uadvocate Baloyi ocelileke ukuthi ke istatement lesi angisenzeke nanjengoba kuye kwavela ke noma kwashiwo ke la enkantolo ukuthi ke nathi ke sasebenza ke kusona lesibhamu kanye futhi nenhlavu lezi.
Mr. Baloyi does not work in a forensic science laboratory. You probably don't work according to his instructions. Not so.
My lord, I cannot answer such a question.
I wanted to raise an objection. It's a fair question.
It's a legal document, 212, is it not?
It's a legal document.
Yeah.
What is the issue with the legal document, my lord?
Section 212 affidavit is a legal document.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Is it correct, Mr.
That's correct.
And then he said it's correct. You don't think it is?
But I don't understand what are the basis for the court to raise the issue that the 212 statement is a legal document.
It's because you are saying Baloyi doesn't work in a laboratory.
Yes.
So I'm saying the document which this witness says was prepared for her by Baloyi, it's a legal document. Section 202, subsection 4, subsection 8 of the Criminal Procedure Act. That's all I'm saying.
And this witness has just said, my lord, that was not, it is not normal procedure. So I don't understand how does the court then fit in the fact that this is a legal document when this witness has said
Yeah, it is a
that
legal
was the
document.
procedure.
If you think it's not a legal document, you can take me on appeal.
I'm not saying it's not a legal
No,
document, my lord, but
if you think I'm
I
wrong,
want to know
no,
the
no, listen to
courts.
me. If you think I'm wrong, take me on appeal. It's your right. Because I am correct.
I'm on a point of procedure, my lord, not on the legality of the
I
document.
am also on the point of procedure. Section 212 document, it's a legal document. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. So you said, although this was not procedure, you did that in compliance with the instruction from Mr. Baloyi.
It was a request, my lord.
Yes.
Noma
request
usho
for
ke
instruction,
ukuthi
it doesn't-
akusiyona-ke indlela ekwenziwa ngayo kodwa lokho kwenzileke ngoba kushiwo uyena-ke uBaloyi ukuthi cha kwakuyisicelo noma wacela-ke ukuthi angikwenze.
Thank you. Mr. Sireyo told the court that a 212 statement in respect of firearm analysis is only prepared by the main examiner, that is the first person who works in this, on the exhibit, and the person who then confirms his work does not have to pen a 212 statement. They only sign in the form that is there in their work file. Is that how it works?
That is generally how it works, my lord, unless the court requests a document to be provided in support or to assist the court.
Lana-ke okushiwo uyena-ke uSireyo ukuthi ke umuntu owenza-ke le statement lesi esibizwa ngokuthi i-212 yena-ke ulo ekuyena obesebenza-ke amazibithi lona-ke yena obhekayo noma oqinisekisa umsebenzi asikho isidingo salokho. Yebo indlela-ke kwenziwa ngayo ngaphandle kokuthi-ke uma inkantolo isicela-ke ukuthi kube nestatement-ke noma i-document ekhona-ke ukusupporta lokho okushiwoyo.
Exactly. That order can only come from the court, not from Mr. Baloyi. Did you receive any order that came from the court that you should prepare a 212 statement?
My lord, I cannot comment on that.
Thank you.
Lokho-ke akubuyanga kuyona inkantolo nanjengoba usho ukuthi kubuya kuyena-ke u-Advocate Baloyi. Kukhona yini okuthole enkantolo okushoyo angeke ngikuphendule loyo mbuzo.
This court doesn't have authority to instruct any practitioner to prepare a 212 statement. They don't have that authority.
That is so.
I can't make that order.
Yes. I agree with the court 113%. The court is 113% correct. Therefore, that goes to the legality of the 212 statement that this witness prepared. But I won't get there now, my lord. My time will come to get there. Whether on appeal or where, but my time will come. Thank you, my lord. Now you say you were requested for an opinion. And for you to give that opinion, Mr. Mangena also gave you his file with all the exhibits. So,
No, my lord, that's not what happened.
Asikona okwenzeka-ke lokho ukuthi-ke wanginika-ke ifayili-ke kanye nawo onke amazibithi uKenneth Mangena.
He came to my office with the case file and handed me the exhibits. I did not remove them from the case file myself.
Weza-ke nayo-ke ifayili ecala leli-ke kanye nawo-ke akusimina-ke owakhipha-ke amazibithi kulona-ke ifayili lecala.
that is what I said. He gave you the exhibits. What's the difference?
Sorry, I misunderstood that you said he gave me the
Yeah,
file.
no, I said he
There's a
gave you the
difference.
exhibits.
Okay, then that's correct. If he handed me the exhibits, that is correct. sir.
Kuyiqiniso-ke uma uthe-ke wanginikeza-ke bekuyiqiniso.
Thank you. Now, I had a look at the definition of the term opinion. What opinion entails, unless the forensic science laboratory has got its own definition of the word opinion. And this is what I got. Just give me a second. and this is what I got from the concise Oxford Dictionary, and it describes or it defines an opinion as a view or a judgment or belief based on grounds short of proof, provisional conviction. It's a view which is held as probable. In other words, it's a belief or that is based on grounds that are short of proof. In other words, you don't need to experiment it. You don't have to do an experiment. That is what opinion is. If you want to confirm it, you can go on Google. So what you did here, you went through the exhibits and analyzed them and came to the conclusion that the exhibits that were handed to you were fired from the same firearm. That is vis-a-vis now the same bullets. So
That's correct, ma'am.
Kuyiqiniso ukuthi ngathatha ke lamazibiti ke ngase ngiyawa testa ke futhi ke kanye nayo ke inhlamvu lena ke iyatholakala nayo kwindawo yesigameko.
that was no longer an opinion in terms of what opinion is from the dictionary. That was a confirmation. Do you agree with me?
No, my lord. This is a microscopic opinion based on my training and experience. It's not just a discussion on a random opinion. I use the microscope based on specific procedures and things I looked at on the microscope according to my training and my experience.
Lokhu ke ngakwenza ke ngokwendlela ke engaqeqeshwa ngayo futhi ke ngisebenzisa yona ke i-microscope akusilona nje uvo ke olovela kodwa ke ngenza ngokwendlela ke engatshelwa noma engaqeqeshwa ngayo.
By the way, you said Mr. Mangena said to you, can you please give him your opinion on the package that he gave you, on the file that he gave you?
It's a microscopic opinion, my lord.
Wathi ucela uvo lwami ke setshenziswa yona ke i-tools leli ke esibizwa ngokuthi ke i-microscope.
Were those his words?
Yes, my lord. I gave him a microscopic opinion based on what I found on the microscope, referring to the exhibit test and the exhibit and the test bullets.
Yebo ngamnika uvo ke lwalokho engakuthola ke ngisebenzisa yona ke i-microscope yona ke inhlamvu yatholakala kanye futhi ke nalezi ezatest.
Microscopic opinion.
My lord,
That's why
whether you
we
said
requested you
microscopic or
to
can
give
you do it on the microscope, it still refers to the same thing.
Noma ke kusetshenziswa kodwa kusasho nje into eyodwa ukuthi ke kusetshenziswe yona ke lolo luvo lolo kusetshenziswa yona ke i-microscope.
Just become, you know, words carry very strong message. You're telling this court that Mangena came to you and said, can you please give me your opinion on this? Can you please give me, the second version is, can you please give me microscopic opinion on this? And the third version is, can you give me an opinion on microscope on this?
My lord, the opinions are not different. My statement clearly states microscopic opinion. It is a word. Can you look at on the microscope, microscopic opinion? It still refers to the same action.
Istatement sami siyakusho lokhu ukuthi ke ungabheka yini ke usebenzisa yona ke i-microscope kusasho noma kusakhuluma into eyodwa.
Because ma'am, I'm going to tell you that what you're telling this court as having been a request from Mr. Mangena, that is not what Mr. Mangena told to this court. And I'm going to specifically refer to you what he told this court. He told this court that he requested you to confirm his work, not an opinion. He told this court that he requested you to confirm his work. Is that not what he said? There's an objection from the state. Thank you.
From the state. Those were not the way. Colonel Mangena, he requested for an opinion, not a confirmation.
Do you have the record of that?
I do not have the typed record at this stage, my lord. But from the notes, it's clear that he requested for an opinion.
Oh, see.
As it is the court, my lord, let me take you to the record where Mr. Mangena requested for your confirmation, not an opinion. Now, if you bear with me, for the benefit of the court, of course.
But this witness is here. The evidence may differ, as you're saying, from Mangena's evidence. But she is adamant that she was requested to furnish a microscopic opinion.
That's correct, ma'am.
That's what you were requested.
That's correct.
Not that you must confirm his findings.
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, so it won't help us to check the record. You are right. She says she's right.
No, my lord, it can't be like that. I can't be right and she's also right when we're talking two different things. One must not be right. And the state stood up when I said Mr. Mangena requested you to give him your, to confirm his work. The state stood up and emphatically said that Mr. Mangena requested this witness to give him an opinion. Now the court says, no, Mr. Mangena said, give me a microscopic opinion.
Okay.
We both right.
How do you give an opinion, ma'am?
By confirming what I see
On what?
on the microscope, ma'am.
Is that what you use to decipher?
Yes, my lord. The tool used, whether it's a confirmation, an opinion, it is still on the microscope.
Fine.
Ukuthi ke kufanele ngiqinisekise nikeze ngovo kodwa ke kusezosetshenziswa into eyodwa ukuthi iyona ke leya microscope engizobheka ngayo.
Fortunately, my lord, I will not allow to be sidetracked this time, but this is what Mr. Mangena said. He said it in his evidence in chief. He also said it under cross-examination by Mr. Ramosipili. And this is what he says. Now, and we should bear in mind that the state says in its objection that Mr. Mangena requested an opinion from you, not to confirm. But let's go to the record of the 30th of August 2023. Probably don't have it today. I've got it here. I'm going to read it. It's a true record. Do you understand?
I understand, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to request you to bear with me because I'm going to read 4 full pages. Now, the date of this record is the 30th of August 2023. We are starting on page 79 on line number 8, where he says, okay, let us start at line number 5, where he says, once we have a match on it, or even if it is a negative, but to confirm that, I will call one of my colleagues to come and confirm if my findings are correct. And in this instance, I have asked more than, I think it was 4 colleagues to confirm that. All of them confirmed it. Now this is for the 4th time that the word confirm is being used, not so. Confirmed that, but only one signed the confirmation form, and it was Lieutenant Colonel Surero who confirmed the case for me that the bullets, there's a triple dots, then the court intervened. Sorry, Lieutenant Colonel, Mr. Mangena, Sereyo, court Sereyo, Mr. Mangena, yes. Then the court says, can all those people come and give evidence so that there's an intervention? Mr. Baloyi then says, yes, indeed, we'll be calling Colonel Sereyo. The court asked, Sereyo, Mr. Baloyi, yes. Then the court asked, is that the one who signed this, Mr. Baloyi, he who signed this, Mr. Mangena, he is the one who confirmed it. So, Lieutenant Colonel, you are carrying out a demonstration. You are still carrying out a demonstration. Now, you probably heard what I read, not so?
I heard, my lord.
You still insist that he requested you for an opinion.
My lord, Colonel Mangena gave me an exhibit and he gave me tests. He asked me to compare it, to look at it, to confirm it on the microscope. The action is still on the microscope. After I gave him my opinion, saying that I'm of the opinion that this test bullet was fired from the same firearm as the exhibit bullets, and he had written the same thing, it is a confirmation that we are, my opinion is the same as his. We confirmed it is the same.
Okwenzekile ukuthi ke se ukusetshenziswa ke kwalamagama amabili uqinisekisa kanye futhi novo ke engikwenzile ukuthi ke ulethile ke ifile lena enalamazibithi athi ke ngicela ke manje ungibhekeleke lana ke ngoba ke inako mina engikutholileke bese emuva kokuthi ke sengishilo ukuthi ngibhekileke mina ke sekumanje sekuyaqinisekiswa uqinisekiswa uvo lami engimnike lona emuva kokuthi ke ngisebenzise yona ke leyo microscope.
Now you agree with me that he requested you to confirm his work.
It is the same thing, my lord, whether I give an opinion or I confirm it. To me, it's the same thing.
Mina ke kuyinto eyodwa noma ke ngiyaqinisekisa noma ngimnikeza uvo kuyinto eyodwa.
Now the term confirmation, again when we go to the Oxford Concise Dictionary, is described as to establish something more firmly, to ratify, to certify and corroborate. That is what the dictionary defines what confirmation is. You can also go and look it on Google. Did you get that?
I heard that, my lord.
Thank you. Now what you did, it is exactly what Sirero did, not so?
It is the same thing, my lord.
Engakwenza nokwenziwa usilewo into eyodwa.
The only difference is I did not sign a document.
Umehluko ukuthi mina ke alikho ke iphepha noma ke document la engasayinda khona.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Serrero, this aspect has been touched base by my colleague, Mr. Ramusipini. Mr. Serrero, in confirming, because that's what the procedure for confirming is, indicated that he worked on bullet number 9, on bullet number 8 and bullet number 4, test bullet number 8 and test bullet number 4, for purposes of confirming Mangena's results. Do you follow?
I follow, my lord.
Ushilo ke usirewo ukuthi yena ke wasebenza ke ngayo ke uTB8 noTB4 uqinisekisa umsebenzi wakhe uMangena.
Now we are telling this court, before I get there, and indeed, as a confirmer or a reviewer of Mr. Mangena's work, he came to the court and demonstrated how he actually arrived at his confirmation of Mr. Mangena's work by producing documents which were flighted there in court. That is confirmation. Do you follow?
Are you referring to a court chart?
Excuse me?
Are you referring to a court chart? What do you mean by
Or chart.
Is that what you're referring to, sir?
He brought documents, yes.
Okay.
I'm referring to that because he was confirming. Now you, in confirming, what did you do?
I examined the exhibit and the test bullets on the microscope. After examination, I gave an opinion, confirmation to Colonel Mangena, saying that I am of the opinion that this test bullet was indeed fired from the same firearm. The exhibit bullet was indeed fired from the same firearm as the test bullets. It was verbal.
Wena ke manje yini wayenza ngoba yena ke uSirewo ke unama document aza nawo ke la enkantolo ukutshengisa ke lokho akwenza. Mina ngakwenza ukubheka ke inhlamvu lena ke uyona yatholakala kanye nalo inhlamvu lezi engamazibithi ngasho ke ukuthi ke kwasetshenziswa isibhamu esisodwa ngakusho nje lokho ngomlomo.
Now, Mr. Ramusipili said to you, except for your word, the allegations, as empty as they are, that you confirmed Mr. Mangena's work, what do you have vis-a-vis what Mr. Sirero brought to the court?
I did not prepare court charts, my lord, as I did not complete an official document.
Mina kama court charts angikwenza njengoba ke kungekho ke la engabhala khona.
Is that how a ballistic expert who confirms their colleagues' work do things?
My lord, again, this is an exception. I'm being called as an opinion giver, not as a verifier.
Kuhlukile lokho lana ke angibizelwanga ukuthi ke manje ngizobhekisisa ke futhi bese ngiyahlola ke lokho okwenziwa ngakwakucela uvo kumina.
I was called to explain as to what I found on the microscope.
Mina ngacela ukuthi ke ngichaze lokho engakuthola microscope.
You know, ma'am, when we started off this ballistic jargon or this ballistic language, we started off by saying this is part of science. And it being a part of science, science is an art of precision and accuracy, not weight. Science is sin, not so.
That's correct, my lord. My finding was based on skills and facts established by means of examination which require knowledge and skill in forensic ballistics.
Lana ke mina ke engakwenza ke ngikwenzeke ngokuthi ke ngibheke ke noma ke engafinyelela kulona ke ngamaqiniso futhi lokho ngikwenza ngokuthi ke futhi ke ngibheke noma ke ngihlole ke futhi ke ngokolwazi lwami enginalo kuona ke ama ballistic.
Thank you, ma'am. Be rest assured, I do not antagonize. I will never ever do that. I'll never antagonize the experience that you have in ballistic. I'll never do that. I'll actually be the very last person to do that from the background that I have or from the background that I'm coming from. Do you understand?
I understand, my lord.
Thank you. Now, but science being a visible art, where do we see the visibility of what you did in pursuing this science that we so dearly respect?
My lord,
If you don't have charts to confirm what you are requested to do.
My lord, again, this is also not procedure for 4 people to testify about the same findings. I was not requested to make court charts. I did not make court charts.
Nalena ke akusiyona ke indlela yokwenza ke ukuthi ke abantu abawu4 ba lethula ubufakazi ke ngento eyodwa eyatholakala ke ngakho nami ke ama court charts angiwenzanga.
Thank you, ma'am. It is not procedure, but in this case it is happening. As unprocedural as it is in these cases, in this case, this one, it is happening, but that is not my question, it's just an emphasis. What is the procedure? Or let's put it this way, what is the correct procedure?
The examiner that examined the case, when testifying in court, will then present court charts to the court as the examiner of the case to show what he found on the microscope.
Umuntu ekuyena ke osebenzile ke ngako ke lokho ekhulunywa ngako uyena-ke ozoza-ke nama-courtships enkantolo abe esho-ke lokho akutholiwe.
I'm sorry. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, my colleague is reminding me that I should call you Captain. I shouldn't always refer to you as a ma'am. Thank you, Captain. But please understand it in the context that when I refer you to as a ma'am, I don't mean to take your captaincy away.
No offense.
Yeah, sometimes I'm using this word interchangeably. Do you understand?
I understand.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, in your view, what would have necessitated a deviation from the normal procedure in this case?
In terms of? In terms of?
Come again?
You're referring to deviation in this case, in terms of?
In terms of the procedure that we've just outlined, that the first examiner, the one who prepares the 212, the person who confirms is the one who signs, and that's the end of the story. Particularly in instances where they find similar results. So the question is, in your view, and a considered view, of course, from an expert who stands there independently, a non-partisan expert, what could have necessitated that in this case there should be 4 people with similar views or similar findings that should attend to this case?
My Lord, I will stand up at this stage and object. Firstly, my Lord, the question is a matter of arguments, and furthermore, it's a matter of discretion, my Lord. So, the state's discretion, my Lord. So, I don't think this witness will be in a position to answer the question.
It can't be. The state cannot. The state cannot act as a soothsayer. The last time I heard this word soothsayer was in Julius Caesar. Or was it the Merchant of Venice? Or was it Romeo and Juliet? I can't remember.
It was Macbeth.
It could have been Macbeth, my lord, yes. But the state can't really say that this witness will not be in a position.
Again.
Excuse me, my lord.
When will these 3?
Yes.
Yes.
And the ideas of Macha come.
Yes.
Yes.
Macbeth.
Yes. The state will not be in a position, can't. That's not a basis of an objection that a witness cannot answer a particular question. That should come from the witness herself. And I'm asking this witness for an opinion.
Yeah, let's hear
The
the
ideas
witness.
of Macha come, my lord.
Let's hear your
My
answer.
opinion could be as there is a difference in opinion between the state and the defense.
Mina-ke mangaphendula-ke ngathi ukuthi-ke kube nabantu abawu-4-ke abakhona-ke abakhuluma-ke noma-ke bakhuluma ngento eyodwa eyatholakala ingoba khona-ke ukwehluka okukhona-ke phakathi kombuso nabameli.
In terms of the microscopic conclusions.
Mayelana naloko kwafinyelela kona-ke uma kubhekwa noma kubukwa ngayo i-microscope.
Let me understand your question clearly. You're saying, from your perspective, from your respectful opinion, that the reason why there were 4 people who had to attend to this experiment is because of the fact that there could have been some views that are differing between the state and the defense. Is that what you said?
My lord, I said a possibility
Yes.
that we are testifying because of the version in terms of microscopic that it is differs between the state and the defense.
Ngithi-ke isizathu-ke sokuthi uma kuwukuthi-ke sethula ubufakazi-ke siba u-4 ngoba-ke ukuthi-ke kunokwehluka-ke okukhona-ke kulokhu okhulunywa umbuso kanye futhi nalokho okhulunywa-ke abameli.
But it is just a possibility, I'm not certain.
Akusiyona-ke into engiyisho nesiqinisekiso-ke la ngithi kungenzeka-ke.
Yes, an opinion is an opinion, man. But let me then tap into what you've just said in terms of your opinion. You know, at the time at which these tests were done, the defense was not yet in the picture. These were the preparatory stages of this case. In other words, the state and the forensic science laboratory, they were working alone. In other words, the day on which Mr. Mangena approached these four, the state was nowhere in the picture, therefore there could not have been any difference between the state and the defense.
My explanation is related as to why 4 people would need to testify, my lord, not as to why 4 people gave an opinion on a microscopic.
Impendulo enginikeze ngayo ke akusiyona ke impendulo emayelana nokuthi ke unganike noma kwanganike kusebenze abantu abanye kodwa ke kube kungani ukuthi kube nabantu abanye abazokuthi ubufakazi mayelana nodaba olodwa.
Is that your answer, ma'am? And your final answer to my question?
That is my answer.
You
I'm
remember,
referring to testimony, not...
I'm sorry, ma'am, it cannot be wrong because it's an opinion. Do you understand? An opinion, I can't fault your opinion. Do you understand?
That's what I'm saying. My answer is in terms of why 4 people are testifying, not why 4 people gave an opinion or a verification. That is at the discretion of the examiner.
Ingakho ke ngisho ukuthi impendulo yami imayelana nokuthi kungani bethu kuabantu abanye bethu ubufakazi ayi ukuthi kungani ke kunabantu abanye abasebenza lokho ke kona ke isinqumo esingathathwa yiloyo owayesebenza ngawo amazibiti.
It means you did not understand my question initially. I did not ask my question in relation to 4 people testifying. I asked this question in relation to 4 people attending to this experiment.
My lord, I wouldn't call it an experiment.
An analysis, I'm sorry, analysis.
But it is still at the discretion of the specific examiner as to there is no set standard as to how many people are allowed or can be requested.
Akukho ke okuphansi noma ke okubhaliweke noma ke umthetho thize oshoyo ukuthi abantu abangaki emuva kokuthi ke lo obesebenza ngamazibiti angabasebenzisi noma angabacela akukho okubhalwe phansi ukuthi ke fanele aye kubantu abangaki.
Thank you. Mr. Ramusipili told you that the defense, I think this is one of the many cases where defense, it's one of the few cases where the defense have a luxury to have a ballistic expert on their side, not so. I know, for instance, that we are involved in a case at Petersburg there, where you were also called as an expert, but you're not there. But what I'm trying to say, or what I'm saying is, our defense, our experts, and this being one of the few cases where a defense has a luxury of having a ballistic expert on their side, would come and tell this court that the reason why Mr. Mangena, as you correctly said, it's in his discretion, had to go out of the standing protocols to go and have his work confirmed by 4 people is because this was a borderline case. He was not so sure whether he was coming or going. It needed sympathy, sympathizers in respect of the work that it did. And I can tell you, he got that sympathy, despite the fact that these results that he worked on did not show a conclusive proof that the bullets that was found from the scene ballistically linked with the firearm that was retrieved from Cleveland by Mangena. What's your comment?
My comment is that it's based on an assumption.
Ngizokuthi ke lokho kushoyo ke into nje oyicabangelayo ke ukuthi ke ingakho uma ngena wandlula-ke kulokho okulindelekile wase-ke eya kubantu abawu-4 ekuyinto-ke engale kwalena-ke elindelekile-ke ngoba-ke lokhu okwatholakala lana-ke kwangahambisani kanye naso isigamu esatholakala eCleveland kathi yinto nje oyicabangelayo leyo.
Thank
First-
you, ma'am.
Oh,
And shall I put it to you?
She's whispering she wasn't finished.
but it's,
She's
no,
whispering
it's
she
fine.
wasn't finished.
No, it's fine.
She was whispering I wasn't finished.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Firstly, I think the state, our examiners, we don't testify for a side. We testify independently and objectively. So if you say you have an examiner on your side, that is also, I cannot commit to that. But the statement was based on an assumption, in my opinion.
Mina-ke istatement leso senzileke okuyicabangela-ke noma into oyicabangela yona-ke kodwa thina-ke uma sithola-ke ubufakazi asithulile ubufakazi-ke uhlangothi oluthile uma uthi wena-ke ninaye umuntu ngakolweni-ke uhlangothi.
I'm not saying that I'm not suggesting even with a fraction that our experts will be partisan. He'll be here to come and assist the court and wait for a day on which he'll take the stand, and you will hear how you assist the court. Mr. Ramsipiri put it to you that his finding was one of an inconclusive nature. In other words, yes, other marks are there, but they were not of a sufficient quality and quantity that he would have conclusively said that the same bullet was fired from the firearm, the tree from Cleveland. I'm not suggesting that it's going to be partisan, but wait for the day on which it's going to come and expound on his finding and the basis of his finding. Thank you. Now, ma'am, why do you think Mr. Mangena in 2020, when he did this experiment, and after he has been to you on the 22nd, yeah? Yes, on the 22nd, you allayed his fear that his analysis was spot on in that there was a positive matching of the same bullet and the firearm. Why do you think it did not go? It did not stop there. He went on to go verify his finding with Serrero, not Serrero, with Ntini on the 22nd, and then on the 23rd he also went to Serrero. Why do you think he did that? As an expert, of course, not from the vacuum, as an expert. Why do you think he did that?
I can't comment, my lord. It is Colonel Mangena's own discretion.
Ukuthi kungani-ke uma ngena esebuyileke kumina-ke waya-ke kuntini nakuye uSerewo angeke ngimkhulumeleke kukuyena-ke ukuthi akwenze lokho.
And do you realize, ma'am, by requesting you to confirm his duties or to confirm what he did here, you should actually have been a Serrero. In other words, you should have done exactly what Serrero did by signing off his worksheet, that form that you're supposed to sign off as a confirmer. Do you realize that that is what you should have done?
That is also Colonel Mangena's decision as to who and how many people he needs to ask and who he decides will be the one to sign the verification document.
Nalapho-ke kukuyena-ke uKolonel Mangena ukuthi-ke uya kubantu abangaki nokuthi-ke umuphi-ke kulabo bantu labo okuyena ozosayina.
But the procedure we know now, man, from two experts from the Forensic Science Laboratory, not just ordinary experts, but chief experts, that is Pinyu and Serrero, that once a finding is positive and it is confirmed by the confirmer, then there is no need for a further consultation with para-expert. Not so.
The procedure does not limit any analyst as to how many people can give an opinion or a confirmation.
Indlela ke kwenziwa ngayo noma kusetshenzwa ngayo ke ayisho ke ukuthi ke fanele umuntu leyo ke kube abantu abangaki ke ayakubona.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me just tick off those items that I think I've dealt with and leave those that are still outstanding. Right. Now, this court has heard, man, that Forensic Science Laboratory does recognize the pattern matching method of comparison and also the consecutive matching strier as a method to analyze or to compare bullets with the firearm. Not so. In other words, this method are mutually inclusive. Do you understand?
I understand.
Ngiyakuzwa ke uma uthi lenkantolo isizwile ke ukuthi ke khona ke lapha elab kunendlela ke ethize esetshenzwa ngayo noma lezi enibiza ke ukuthi CMS kanye futhi nayo ke i-pattern matching.
Now, you told this copy that in your analysis, as per the opinion, I'm going to use your terminology now, as per the request of your opinion by Mr. Mangena, you preferred to use, what do they call it? Pattern matching. You know, sometimes these words, because I'm not a ballistic, they sometimes skip my mind. But then you prefer to use pattern matching also.
My lord, the procedure prescribes in South Africa, we use pattern matching. At the Forensic Science Laboratory, we use pattern matching.
Thank you.
Lana ke South Africa ke yona ke indlela ke esiyisebenzisayo ke kanye futhi ke nakhona ke elab ke kusetshenziswa yona ke le ebizwa ngokuthi ke i-pattern matching.
Let us properly capture your answer. The policy in South Africa with regard to ballistic examination is that we only using pattern matching. Not so.
Pattern matching is the method we use.
Thank
That's
you.
correct, my lord.
Iyona ke indlela esisebenzisayo ke le ebizwa ngokuthi ke i-pattern matching.
Why pattern matching?
My lord, because CMS it's referred to as line counting. We're not simply counting lines. We are looking at the type of marks, the depth, the width, the spatial relation, the specific peaks, all those types of things, the specific pattern of a mark, the type of mark, quantitative, not a qualitative.
Kungoba ke lena ebizwa ngokuthi ke i-CMS yona ke ukubala ke imigqa akusibona ke into esiyenzayo kodwa siyabheka ke ukuthi ke itholakala futhi ngayiphi ke indlela akuphi futhi nendawo lokho kubizwa ngokuthi ke i-pattern.
You spoke about quantity and quality. What did you say about that? That skipped my mind. You know, the echo has got a propensity to disturb my hearing ability. What did you say about quality and quantity?
CMS refers to a quantitative method. Pattern matching is a qualitative method. We look at the quality of the mark, not just the amount of mark.
Masikhuluma ngayo ke pattern matching asibheki nje ukuthi ke ama mark amangaki kodwa ke siyabheka ke futhi ke nayo ke lokho kubizwa ngokuthi phecelezi ke equality iyayo ke yawo ama mark lawo.
We look at the peaks, the ridges, the furrows, specifically related to height, depth, curvature.
Sibheka ke into ezahlukileke noma ezahlukeneke kuwona ke lawo ma marks lawo.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to request for an adjournment for the day, but before we adjourn, I just want to capture your answer very properly. It was only 7 minutes to adjournment. What you're saying is South Africa prefers to use pattern matching because pattern matching is qualitative while CMS is quantitative.
That's correct, my lord.
Thank you.
Yabo ngishilo-ke ukuthi ke la eSouth Africa kusetshenziswa yona-ke i-pattern matching ngenxa-ke yomahluko ekhona-ke phakathi kwayo-ke i-pattern matching kanye nayo-ke i-CMS.
As it is a court, my lord, it's no use to start, my lord, with a new aspect because I'm going to be a little bit longish on that aspect. I think it's an opportune time for us to adjourn up until tomorrow. It's only 7 minutes to go. Thank you, my lord.
Are you available tomorrow, ma'am?
I'm available, my lord.
You say you read Pretoria University.
That's correct, my lord.
Were you taught by Professor Van Rooyen
I can't recall, my lord. I have to be honest.
in law?
I did not study law, my lord.
Oh, you didn't study law?
No.
You thought you studied law. Okay, fine. Okay, tomorrow then.